Hi, I'm Lisa K. Donner, along with Jeff Charles, Sarah Cowgill, Graham Noble, and Pernell Bird. And this is the Conservative Five, Liberty Nation's online TV news program. On today's episode, who's hot and who's not? Dan Bongino is sizzling. Is he ready to step into the big shoes left by Rush Limbaugh? Those in the know seem to think so. Speaking of not hot, we'll discuss the sourpuss at CNN, Don Lemon, and how his quite acerbic voice is taking on a bitter tone. Look up in the sky. We'll point our noses heavenward to determine who and what is buzzing around our friendly skies. We'll play a round of yay or nay today. This segment is designed just for fun to figure out what's fact and what's fiction. And finally, in the member zone, Trumpists versus rhinos, the cage match. An epic battle rages in the grand old party. Will there be a clear victor or an uneasy détente? All this and more coming up on this episode of The Conservative Five. The liberal media may have labeled him a Trump loyalist. Some say he's attempting to fill Rush Limbaugh's mighty media shoes. But whatever you call him, Dan Bongino is sizzling hot in conservative circles. A former New York City cop, also a dedicated Secret Service agent, and now a commentator treading the tricky post-Trump waters, is a force to be reckoned with. Why has he risen to heights so fast? I've heard Dan Bongino described as a younger Trump, with the same America First drive and the same bombastic style. Graham, how do you compare the two, and what's your take on the new conservative dream team?
Well, Lisa, a comparison, I suppose, between Bongino and Trump is interesting. There are certain, I believe, very significant differences in terms of they have the same kind of manner, but Donald Trump was actually very much laser focused on economic efficiency, for want of a better word, when he was president. I mean, I think that's often overshadowed by his style and his kind of unfiltered and rather combative nature. And of course, Bongino actually shares that kind of in-your-face nature. So it's an interesting pairing. I think Bongino has separate talents, if you like, separate areas of expertise. Whereas, Trump was the businessman, Bongino's more of the just, in your face, as he says himself, I'm all about owning the libs. So I think that's a kind of a difference, but interesting pairing.
All right, Pernell, what do you say?
I've been a fan of Dan Bongino since he's sort of had a higher profile over the last couple of years. I love he's pugnacious, he's pugilistic, he's all the pug words, frankly. And I do see the comparisons to Trump. They're both sort of happy warriors, and I think it's fantastic. I mean, I guess I wouldn't have necessarily picked him straight out of the gate to be as ascendant as he is right now, but I think he's really rising to the occasion. The things that I've seen him do on his new shows, he's really up to the challenge. He's a bright guy, and I love that he's a guy who gets in the ring, he slugs away, but he does it with a little bit of a wry smile, which makes it go down easier.
Yeah, it's interesting. He really is an in-your-face guy, Sarah.
Well, I like the fact that he tempers his, bombastic style and nature with a little bit of common sense, and he gets right up to that line, but he never jumps across the way Trump used to, and the way Trump probably will again if anybody ever lets him back on social media. You've got a guy who worked in the government, in the federal government, for years, and those years taught him a lot about, kind of keeping it to the point, yet don't offend anybody. And I don't think he's as offensive. I do think he's a great replacement for Rush, and I think he's going places. I wouldn't be surprised if his star rises all the way to the top.
I wrote this week that Bongino doesn't talk, he bellows and thunders. Jeff, the other thing about Bongino that I think a lot of people don't talk about is that, like Trump, he's got an incredible business acumen.
Yes, he does. I mean, a lot of people don't know, but he's part owner of Parler, and he's got some other interests as well. But I think that Bongino represents.
Wait, just to be clear, it's not Rumble?
I don't know if he has any interest in Rumble. He might, but I do know that he has interest in Parler as well.
Yeah, he has a heavy stake in Parler.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised if he had interest in Rumble as well. I mean, the guy knows what he's doing. And I think, but even beyond this, I mean, I think looking at it deeper, this is what the base wants. Dan Bongino represents that. He's a pugilist. And the thing that people like about him is that he doesn't care what the left thinks of him. He doesn't care what anybody thinks of him. He's going to say what he wants to say. And if you agree with it, fine. If you don't, that's fine too. And a lot of people can admire that quality because on the right, we have a lot of squishies. I mean, we got a lot of squishies who want to appease everybody, but refrain from telling the truth the way it is. So, I mean, I haven't listened to him in a while, but I still poke in every now and then. And like Sarah said, he does take a more common sense approach, and he can actually back up what he says. He doesn't just engage in a lot of hyperbole without being able to provide a reason for his views.
Yeah, and anybody can take this. What I like about Bongino is he's not a crazy conspiracy theorist. I got it out. Okay. That he doesn't seem like he's off the wall, but he takes no prisoners as well. What does it say about the conservative public that they're gravitating to somebody like Bongino?
I don't know, but Graham better come up with another PUG word, since it seems like a couple of our panelists have been talking out of school, coming up with the pug words. Graham, do you have a pug word? Because I can't think of another one.
No.
Okay, well,
I'm at a loss there.
Anybody want to take that?
Lisa, I will say, I think that having been embattled for 4 years of the Trump administration, taking the conservatives and Republicans and taking hits from all across the media, we're starved for people that won't apologize, like Dan Bongino. As you say, he's not going to back down. He's not going to pull a John Cena or anything like that. He's going to speak his mind. And I think, as Sarah points out, he does that in a common sense way that's tough, but still measured. And I think we're starving for folks like that. Tucker Carlson, Heather McDonald, Ben Shapiro, there are people like this who are not going to apologize for what they believe. And Dan Bongino is one of them. And by the way, I will say that if I ever run across him in the street, I pledge to say Buongiorno Bongino. I will do that.
Oh, not a P word, but a B word. Okay. Oh, you're the man of the hour.
I think one thing about Dan Bongino that I kind of like, if you want to put it that way, or it's not so much what I like, it's the fact that I believe that a lot of the conservative kind of voting base out there might like about him is that until probably just, I would say, a few short years ago, it seems, the conservative camp was split into almost two extremes in terms of the way they approach the ongoing kind of ideological and cultural battle against the left. On the one hand, you had as I think someone said before, I think it was Sarah, the squishies, where they're just they're kind of appeasers, really. They don't want to upset anybody. They don't even want to upset the people on the other side of the political aisle who absolutely despise them. They still don't want to upset them. And so you had theirs, and then on the other side of at the end of the spectrum, you had the conservatives who were the in-your-face conservatives, but they were also always just angry. They're just angry people. And I think that turns a lot of people off. Certainly turns me off when people, regardless of their political views, when they're just angry all the time. And Bongino is, in your face, but as Pernell said, in your face, but a happy warrior, you know, has a sense of humor about it, has that little twinkle of mischievous humor in his eye. And I think he like dominates kind of the middle ground between those two extreme groups.
You know, that's a really good point. And I think a cheerful demeanor goes a long way. Well, conservative voices are on the rise. What was once a niche market with one or two powerful voices like Rush and Hannity and even Bill O'Reilly, the young pups are coming out of the woodwork and making noise that surely the left wants to silence. We'll be watching where Dan takes his e-ticket ride. Thanks, panel. CNN's darling, the one and only Don Lemon, is one angry man. He's mad at the Democrats, he's mad at the Republicans, and he's mad that no one is living up to his personal image of America. In a recent podcast interview, Mr. Lemon claimed our democracy was threatened by the right and is being hijacked by, quote, the weak Democrats, end quote. He ranted a bit more about the country being dominated by minority rule and no longer a democracy. And he also explained he is not a partisan person. Okay, guys, Lemon is always spouting off about something, and I see Jeff is fidgeting in his chair, ready to make a brilliant observation.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Don Lemon is trying to do some stand-up here, but Don Lemon is not an independent. He might be registered as an independent, but the man is not an independent. I get people like this on Twitter all the time. Oh, well, I am an independent. I'm not beholden to either side. But if 99% of your criticism goes one way, you are not an independent. If you criticize Democrats, maybe just a little bit, and it's a fluffy criticism that doesn't really amount to anything, but you've got fire for the Republicans, you are a Democrat. Okay? All right. You might be registered as independent, but you are on the left. Don Lemon is very clearly on the left. He is as partisan as it gets. And it's amazing to me that people even take him seriously. I mean, this guy he's talking about the Republicans threatening democracy. You can't even spell democracy, okay? You just like a week or two ago, you said that Europeans didn't found the United States of America. He makes stupid statements like this all the time, showing how little he knows. And you know, in that whole handoff segment with Chris Cuomo, it is very hard to figure out which one is the least knowledgeable. And by the way, I'm putting that charitably. There's another word I want to use that I can't. But yeah, Don Lemon is always good for entertainment, but he's not very good for journalism.
The guy's a nut job, and in a good way. He's articulate as all get out. He's a good-looking guy, and he's really good on CNN. But he's categorically not factual. He really isn't. And to say that the right's hijacking the Republic and the Democrats are too weak to stop it, who the heck is left? Who's left to love Don Lemon and CNN? Does Don Lemon even have friends? I don't know.
I mean, sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Graham.
Sorry, I was just going to say that I think like a lot of the talking heads on cable news, it's hard to figure out sometimes with Don Lemon, just like many of the others, how much of what they're saying is actually coming from the heart, and how much of it is designed to boost their ratings and ultimately enhance their media careers. And with Don Lemon, I cannot figure it out because, I'm going to try to not sound too disrespectful here, because after all, he is a human being. But you have to wonder if it's possible for someone to get the job that Don Lemon has got on TV, being that ignorant of just history and of even what's going on in the country today. I mean, is he really that lacking in knowledge, or is he just out to be as hyperbolic as possible because he thinks it's going to boost his own profile? I just don't know.
Pernell, what do you think it is that makes Lemon likable to those people on CNN?
I mean, again, he's telegenic, as Sarah points out, good-looking guy. He's willing to go there. I mean, he's willing to throw the left everything it wants, which is was Trump hatred for 4 years, but he's a faux intellectual, and he's what I would call an elitist ninny. I mean, he's really he's playing to his audience, and he knows very well who that audience is. And I think Graham makes a good point. It's really hard to know what he truly believes, because what he espouses is so routinely dumb. If you don't mind me using a scorched earth term, I just don't. I've never actually been able to get over my sort of anger at that infamous segment where he was with Rick Wilson and they were cruelly mocking all Trump voters. I don't know if you guys remember it, but they basically went into hysterics about how dumb and uncultured Trump voters are, which again is 75 million people at the very least. So Graham was worried about the disrespect. I would say other than being, successful as a CNN talking head, I don't have a lot of respect for him. And there are people on the left who I do respect, and I respect their points of views and their opinions. But Don Lemon, as Tucker refers to him, is not one of them. Hey, by the way, I just want to say quickly, Jeff, I love that people on Twitter speak in a proper British accent. That's excellent.
I wondered what that was. It sounded kind of highfalutin.
What'd you say, Jeff?
I said when people are trying to pretend to be independents, that's how I hear them in my head. So yeah, I mean, and the thing about Don Lemon, I mean, he's an empty suit. He doesn't know anything. He has no substance. Like Pinnell, there are plenty of left-wing journalists who I disagree with, but I have a level of respect for. I can tell that they've read a book or two. That's not the case with Don Lemon. He is there to be a parrot to regurgitate what his audience wants to hear. He's not the only one. We have him everywhere, but he is, to me, like one of the most egregious, because he actually tries to come off like he knows something when he really doesn't. He's an entertainer.
Let me just throw this out. Our last segment, we talked about Dan Bongino. And for those of you who haven't seen it yet, make sure you watch it after this segment. This segment, we're talking about Don Lemon. This goes to really prove what they call the siloing of the media in America. Are we comfortable with that? I mean, should we be having, the Dan Bonginos and the Don Lemons, or do we want to go back to the days of Walter Cronkite? Not that I'm saying he was totally nonpartisan, but you get the point.
I think there's I think there's just, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, I'm not passing judgment on, but I think now there is a hunger, on the part of the American public, a hunger, an expectation. I believe that most people now would be completely dissatisfied with media figures, especially particularly in the political realm, coming on TV and talking about politics and doing it in a completely uncommitted, kind of objective, apolitical way. I mean, I think, we all like to think that we, that we can look at things objectively. And I know, us here at Liberty Nation, we pride ourselves on, we don't pretend to be neutral, but we do
adhere to the facts.
Fact-based and objective analysis. But I think if you're just straight down the middle nowadays as a talking head on a political show, I don't think anyone would watch you. I think you've got to be on one side or the other, whether you're extreme or not. I think everyone now has to take a stand, on what side of the fence they're on. I just think that's the way it is.
Let me throw this out to you guys. I read this the other day and I was pretty surprised. What do you think the average age is of someone who watches CNN? Come on, anybody take a guess?
If I had to guess personally, I would actually say it's probably, I think it's probably maybe
45,
50 something.
Sarah?
I'm thinking like 40 or 50.
Sarah?
28.
64.
Oh, what do we have a number for Fox?
I think it's the same for Fox. Yeah.
It's 60.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What about CNN? MSNBC rather.
I can't remember that at the moment, but I was, it really goes to show, what kind of appeal does somebody like Don Lemon have to 64-year-olds? I find that very interesting. He presents as somebody who has a lot of hubris, for kind of no good reason.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
but here's the thing.
His
Lisa.
audience.
When you mention CNN and you say 64, is that actually the average age or is that the number of viewers?
Alrighty.
Well done, Graham.
Ouch.
On that note, I think we settled the question of whether Don Lemon is nonpartisan. Thanks, panel, for that boisterous repartee. When it comes to UFOs, it seems everyone has an opinion. On June 1st, the U.S. Senate Intelligence Committee is releasing more than an opinion. Instead, they let loose with a report that may have people saying, "See, I told you so." Now, what could be more exciting to alien believers than to see all the crazy things that have been collecting mold in Area 51 in Roswell, New Mexico? So, Panel, from your bird's eye view, what the heck is going to be revealed and why are you so excited about this?
I'm like a kid on Christmas, Lisa. I'm very excited for this disclosure, whatever it may be, coming up, I guess, within a week or two. But I reminded myself that one Christmas I got a cheap knockoff of the Rock'em Sock'em robots that I really wanted. So I'm also prepared to be hugely disappointed. The long and short of it is, it's hard for me to think about a time when the government was, absolutely forthcoming and transparent. Maybe, Trump certainly made an attempt at it during his time in office. But the idea that the federal government is going to suddenly say, hey, we've been, gathering information since 1947, the Roswell incident. And yeah, we believed it all along, but we acted like you guys were crazy because that was super fun and served our purposes. And now we're going to let it all, be clear as day. I'm trying to quell my enthusiasm. I'm caveatizing my enthusiasm. Is that a word? If it isn't, I just coined it. I'm putting a caveat on my enthusiasm because I just don't know whether we're really going to get anything other than maybe a few more grainy videos and some people saying, yes, we believe it, or if it's going to be a nothing burger.
Well, maybe this is a time to let your tinfoil hat shine. I mean, with pride, right? I mean, because you really, for a long time, you really feel that. Well, what do you feel? You feel that.
Look, you're asking me straight up. I think I hate math and I'm bad at it, but math, I think, suggests that we probably are not alone in this vast universe. So I do believe that. I also am interested in a gentleman named Dr. Stephen Greer. He's been banging a low-level drum of alarm lately. He's got a documentary he's about to release, and it's about the idea that all the coverage you're hearing now about this disclosure and about UFOs is coupled with this word threat, that we're being threatened. And of course, that makes sense that if there's something either extraterrestrial or technologies that have not been revealed, that they would want to make it a threat, because as we know from the pandemic and from so many other instances post 9/11, fear is maximized by those in power to continue their own control. So his idea is they're beating this drum. You'll see it everywhere. You see coverage of UFOs now, that they're threatening our airspace, and we have to be deeply concerned from a national security point of view. And I say, be aware of that and be cognizant that there's always agendas.
Jeff, have you been lying awake at night, fearful of being threatened by aliens?
Well, I mean, to be fair, I'm always afraid of aliens. But I mean, we talk about the Roswell incident with the supposed spaceship that crashed. There have been documentaries made on this happening. In this spaceship, they found a baby whose name was Kal-El. They raised him in Smallville, Kansas, and now he wears blue tights and a red cape, and he's Superman. It's great. So we already know that aliens exist because we've seen them. Everybody's seen E.T., right? Okay, that guy was a thing. Maybe these are all documentaries and not fictional stories. But I mean, to be serious, I mean, I do think it's very possible that there is intelligent life out there in the galaxy. And I believe that because we have so much issues, we have so much problems with finding intelligent life even here on Earth. So it does totally make sense that we're not the only ones here. And maybe the other life out in the galaxy, maybe they're a little bit smarter than we are.
Sarah, somebody give an alternative opinion here.
I'm kind of excited about it. I'm not a big conspiracy theorist when it comes to, life forms flying around like the Jetsons. Excuse me, I've never been that way, but I can tell you this. There was an incident when I lived in Arizona, and there were 3 lights over the city of Phoenix randomly for several days, off and on. And that was a big deal. People were literally freaked out in the valley about these lights. The governor went on television and, had a press conference and announced that they had caught an alien. The whole world tuned in for this press conference that the governor had. And so when he trotted out the alien, who was his chief of staff dressed up in an alien costume, it kind of irritated people. So I really want to see what they have on A, the Phoenix thing, and B, just anything. I mean, there's got to be more information that we just haven't been privy to.
And by the way, Sarah, that's awesome. But the Phoenix Lights is incredible. When you see it documented, the photographs of it are amazing. And that governor, Fife Symington, I think his name was, he's now one of the leading advocates. He's part of a panel that includes people from the military, from all these high-ranking offices who all believe that this has been obfuscated and that it's real. So he mocked it at one side, and now he's an absolute believer. And what I want to say is now, just like you're seeing this the last 2 weeks with Wuhan, now the idea that there was a possible breach of the lab in Wuhan, now everybody's jumping in. Oh yeah, absolutely. We believe that. We just didn't report on it. Everybody's jumping on because that seems to be the narrative that they can be comfortable with. They sort of look to the left, they look to the right. If everyone else is saying it, oh, I'm in on it too. So that's happening now with UFO disclosure. You're seeing the same thing. Oh, now it's safe to say. So we got a lot of very of people who are not brave and looking to the left and the right and waiting for the moment to say, oh yeah, okay, I believe that too. I think that's very cynical. So,
well, let me just play devil's advocate here and say, I'm not jumping on your bandwagon. Mm-hmm. Whatever is flowing around, trust but verify. I mean, give me the goods. Show me what you got there. Right now, we have some lights spinning and some F-18 pilots going, woo, look at that thing. I don't see any aliens out there yet, Graham.
Well, I think, and I'll be honest, my personal opinion is somewhere along the same lines as Pennell. I believe that it is virtually a mathematical impossibility that there is not other, not only just life in the galaxy, but almost certainly other intelligent life. I don't know. I'm very much open-minded about, when, if, and how often they visit us. But I certainly believe they're out there somewhere. But what's always intrigued me is the fact that as some movies have kind of like implied, the biggest threat that these, assuming that they are advanced enough to have mastered space travel, and they are actually, kind of dropping by every now and again. I think it's intriguing that if it was ever to be revealed that we absolutely know there is another intelligent race out there, or more than one, that has actually been monitoring Earth, visiting Earth, flying by, whatever. If it was all confirmed, 100% beyond a doubt, everyone came up and said, yes, they definitely exist. They're definitely up there. We know about it. It would change the entire world. It would change everything about our world. I think people don't realize it would. It would be a seismic shift in history. But what I really want to know is, if they are there, could they please step up their abduction program, and would they allow us to suggest some candidates for that program?
Well, let me just go ahead, panel.
No, I was just saying that's a great idea. We need a list of folks that would go. And you know what? If I was beamed up to the mothership, if I volunteered, I pledged to take my family, which Richard Dreyfuss didn't do in Close Encounters. He just ditched his family. What's up with that? I hope my wife hears this, and my kids. I will take you with me if I go to the mothership. So.
Well, I'm clearly in the minority in this panel, but let me just throw this out real quick. What makes us think that, okay, let's say there is life under the planets. Why are they so much more intelligent than we are? Why are they so much more advanced than we are? Why are they so brilliant and we're so stupid?
I would say that's a fantastic question, Lisa, because of course, every time we see, any movie that's ever been made about aliens, or in terms of, let's put it this way, any movie that's ever been made about, aliens visiting Earth, they're always, just like everything is better about them, apart from the fact that maybe they don't look quite as good as me, but other than that, everything about them is more advanced. But I think it goes both ways. I think there's probably enough life forms out there in the universe that some of them may well be way ahead of us technology, and others of them may still be kind of crawling around in the swamp.
Well, I may be in the minority on this panel, but a 2019 Gallup poll revealed 33% of Americans believe the UFO sightings are alien spacecraft visiting planet Earth, but 60% say they remain skeptical, and the rest just say, I don't know. The report may provide some clarity or not. Thanks, panel. Every now and again, we like to let our hair down, so to speak, and have a little fun with each other, to the amusement of our viewers, we hope. In that old school spirit, I'm going to call on each member of the panel to agree or disagree with the statement. So fasten down that chin strap. It could get a little bit turbulent before we reach cruising altitude. Panel, let me throw you a softball. Does all this UFO chatter mean there is intelligent life out there somewhere? Yay or nay?
I say yay, absolutely 100% yay, and I'll send a parade down Main Street to espouse that view. I just think, as Graham said earlier, it just beggars belief that we could be alone in this gigantic universe and that there are no other intelligent folks out there. So I'm going to say yay, 100%.
Yeah, I think we all agree with that one. Yay.
Nay.
It doesn't.
Except for Lisa.
All right, you guys going to weigh in? Jeff, Graham, are we agreeing with it?
I'm going to go along with Pernell. I don't know. Like I said, I'm very skeptical and open-minded about the level of recent interaction. I say recent, I mean in recent decades. I'm skeptical about the amount of interaction we have actually had with any aliens that might be out there. But are they out there somewhere? Even if maybe they're not, they haven't yet reached the stage where they can get to us. Yeah, they're out there somewhere. They got to be. Jeff,
you gonna play the Twilight Zone music, or yay or nay?
More like X-Files. I'm gonna have to go with yay on that. And the reason why I'm not all that excited about what's the information that's going to come out is because if they have already interacted with aliens, they're not going to tell us about it. So what they're going to release is going to be a whole lot of nothing, in my opinion, not because they don't exist, but because our government wouldn't tell us if they had already interacted with aliens, which they have, because they talk to Superman all the time.
Yeah.
All right.
And, you know, and our politicians never lie to us, as we know. So they're not going to now suddenly say, "Oh, we've been lying to you the whole time. We've been in regular contact with the aliens. Sorry, we lied to you." You know, they never do that.
Trump's fault.
They're always straight up about these things like this. So
I don't know what makes people think that the government, you know, is you know, having conversations with people from other planets. You know, that most of them are idiots anyway. They can barely communicate with each other or the American people. But anyway, all right, next up, Graham, yay or nay? Dan Bongino will build the media empire that propels him to the White House.
Well, Lisa, you know, that's
no equivocating.
Answer.
Okay, if I can't equivocate, then I'm going to say yay, but probably eventually, not anytime soon.
All right, why?
Because I just think, you know, I just think it's going to take perhaps longer than either Dan Bongino or anybody else imagines to build up that level of kind of momentum and the money that's involved and all this lot. Bongino has run unsuccessfully for office a few times before. Obviously, he's never run for president. But yeah, you know, so I can see, you know, your question was, is he going to, or the statement that you gave me was, he will build a media empire that will take him to the White House, basically. And I would say, yes, I think there's a very good chance that's going to happen, but I think there's a very good chance it's going to take possibly 10, 15 years.
Panel, are we going to shout him down, or are we agreeing?
I'm just going to tell him he needs to follow the dang directions. Answer first and then explain. God.
I'm going to say nay on that.
My left side went numb. You were...
All right.
I say yay.
I'm saying nay. I like Dan Bongino a lot. I think I don't think he's going to be. I would vote for Candace Owens to be in the Oval Office before Dan Bongino. I'm just putting that out there.
Okay, that's interesting. Jeff, you want to comment?
Yeah, I'm going to go with nay. I think it's possible, but I don't think that that's what he's trying to do. If he did, it would take a while, like Ram just said. But yeah, I'm not thinking that that's going to be a thing.
Well, you know, I think the way the question is worded is tricky, because we said, will Bongino build a media empire that propels him to the White House? And I wonder if the real question is it a media empire that he wants to propel him to the White House? I think if it was up to his desire, he would definitely want it. Because like you said, Graham, he's run for office. He's run for Congress in Maryland. He's run for Senate in Maryland. I think he ran for Congress in Florida. You know, he definitely had political aspirations. So I guess if it was more like, does he want it to propel him to the White House? I think that's a definite yay. But will it? Nay. All right, Sarah, are you ready?
Sure.
You got your bellowing voice up, ready to go?
I'll bellow. I can bellow.
Yay or nay? Trump has a quarter pounder with cheese 3 times a week.
Nay. Who in the heck is going to drive through the drive-thru in a limo with 2 cars in front and 2 cars in back, Secret Service, and get a cheeseburger? And if somebody picked it up for him and took it back to wherever he is, Bedminster, you know, then it's going to be cold. So I'm going to say no. Nay, and some more nay.
Personally, I'm a Big Mac girl, so I just have to say that. All right, Panna, what do you think?
The folks at DoorDash, I think about that.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Why doesn't he just have it delivered?
Yeah,
he probably does.
Nobody likes cold, soggy McDonald's fries. Nobody.
I'm going to say nay. I think he definitely gets one of those in that beautiful girth of his once a week, but 3 times a week, that seems like a lot. I think Melania'd have something to say about that. That's a little too many quarter pounders with cheese. And that was my sandwich of choice when I worked at McDonald's. That was my first job. And when I got the free shift sandwich, it was always a quarter pounder with cheese. But I would push the pickle off into the parking lot.
Well, is this back in the days when the fries used to be really crispy because they were made with beef tallow before the vegetarians got to them? That's when their fries were
Probably.
Yes, they were good.
All right, Jeff, you know the drill. Here you go. Drum roll. Yay or nay? Nancy Pelosi is immortal and will never die or leave office.
Yeah. Well, first, I just want to say, as somebody who is fasting from meat for a week, I don't appreciate this conversation about quarter pounders with cheese, because that is my favorite sandwich. So, but I digress. Nancy Pelosi.
Wait, let me ask, do you push the pickles off into the parking lot?
Well, I tell them not to put the pickles on in the first place, although if they do, I don't mind.
You people, extra pickles is the way to go.
Oh,
pickles are fine. It's the onions that I really can't stand. But I mean, if they put pickles on it, I don't care. It's fine.
No onions and no pickles. You sound like the man I'm married to. Oh.
Hey, I actually thought pushing the pickle off into the parking lot was code for something, and I just didn't even want to think about what it was code for.
I'll tell you.
Answer the question, Jeff.
Yeah, Nancy Pelosi. I'm going to have to go with yay on that. Now, we were just talking about aliens, right? But we didn't consider the possibility that aliens are already among us. I think Nancy Pelosi is proof positive that we already have aliens working among us, and they're working in our government, which is probably why they don't want to tell us about them. So yeah, Nancy Pelosi is immortal. She's going to live forever, and she'll stay in office because people will continue to vote for her in California, because that's just how crazy everything is.
You should say that, Jeff, because, Harry Reid, of all people, was a huge guy for having the government release what they may or may not know about extraterrestrials. He was really big on that. So,
yeah, he was.
Which always kind of surprised me. He didn't seem the type, but that was one of his things.
Recently I talked to a person who, and they were being totally serious. They said that they thought we hadn't seen Nancy Pelosi for a year, that the real Nancy Pelosi is not, who we see on TV. It's like a body double.
I buy it.
Okay, what is that about?
Has anybody ever seen the movie Death Becomes Her?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. Otherwise, we will get kicked off of some platform somewhere, but I think everybody knows what I'm trying to say there. Yes, she's immortal.
I think, I have to agree with Sarah and the rest of the panel. I think that she will live forever. I consider Hillary Clinton to be the queen of the damned. But I would, but that was a novel by Anne Rice. She was a vampire that lived forever. And, but I think that Pelosi is certainly the Duchess of the damned. So that, we can do our best, wooden stakes, whatever it takes, but it's not going to happen. Those two they'll never die. Okay,
social platform media censors. This is the message. Take none of this seriously. We've just been joshing and kidding around. Well, folks, we've had a good time. I hope you've enjoyed our yay or nay. Thanks for joining us. And remember to yay or nay the statement, liberty, all the time and everywhere, to which I say, yay.
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 Great.
Yay.
That's it for our Conservative 5 panel today. Check out our other C5 shows and segments on your favorite video platform, YouTube, Vimeo, Rumble. We're on them all. As well, Liberty Nation now has its own Roku channel where you can see all our TV productions. Thanks so much for tuning in. And remember to surf on over to libertynation.com. Sign up for our new member zone, just $29.99 for the year. This has been a production of libertynation.com, conservative news where truth matters.